Hi, I'm Pattu from FinCal, and in this video let's talk about which is better. Should I prepay my home loan and then start investing, or should I invest and let my home loan continue? The reason why I said why this corollary to prepay your home loan in the title is because there's a lot of emotions associated with a house purchase. First of all, that people get emotional about buying a house. They say, I've been living in rent all my life, so I want to buy a house and only then do something else, which is fine, which is rational in my, in a sense it's rational in my opinion. Then they buy the house with a loan. Then typically the DMI is pretty high. It's like 40-45%, almost touching 50% of their take-home pay. Then they struggle to manage day-to-day expenses, and then they start thinking about prepaying that loan. The very people who encourage them to buy a house will later come to their house and say, you are having home loans. In my time we never had any loans, and then they will give them the impression that there's actually a sword on their neck, and it pressurize them to pre-close the loan. Then they get emotional about pre-closing the loan. So first there is an emotion associated with buying, then there is an emotion associated with pre-closing. The problem is, all that's fine, that's all logical, there's no problem. I'm not going to judge all that. The problem I have is that people are not being emotional about their financial freedom or their retirement. They are not thinking about that. If they thought about that, they will not be asking wrong questions like, should I prepay and then invest, or should I invest? That's my point here. So the question is, the point I'm trying to make is that the question itself is wrong. Why do you want to do this or that? Why can't you do both? Why can't you let the home loan run and prepay in small chunks every 6 months or once a year? Every time you get a pay hike or every time you get a small extra lump sum, you can use that to gradually pre-close your home loan. Why not do that? There's no problem at all. Why think about extremes? Do this, I've got a home loan, let me prepay and only then talk about investing. I actually have a calculator for this, prepay and invest. And if you, it's not prepay or invest, it's prepay versus what happens to your retirement, that kind of a calculator. So you will actually understand that if you had a lump sum, let's say you're servicing a loan for 50 lakhs and you have a 10 lakh lump sum, what will happen if you invested that 10 lakh and what will happen if you used it for prepaying? So this is the kind of calculation that you can use in that calculator. But my advice is that don't use the calculation. Math doesn't make sense all the time in personal finance. Like I keep saying, you should know when to use math. My advice is, if I had 10 lakhs, if I had a 40 lakh home loan, if I had 10 lakhs, I will maybe take 5 lakhs and invest, and 5 lakhs I'll use for prepaying. I'll do a little bit of that. Balance is very important in life, and the point I'm trying to make is always balance your loans, whatever loan it is, with your investments. So before you even buy the house, you should have done proper goal-based investment for your retirement, child's education. All that should be factored in, and you should be able to continue investing as much as possible, close to or at least above 70% of what you need to invest for these goals while you are servicing the EMI. Then these questions will not matter at all. Then you will understand the balance of doing both in more or less equal measure. So and there's one more choice. If you have you don't actually need to prepay. If you are so worried about prepaying, you can there are two ways to do it. One is, you can, if you have an overdraft account, overdraft home loan account like SBI Maxgain, which is probably the most popular, you can park some money into the overdraft account. Then this will reduce the interest outgo in your EMI because the principal comes down. The EMI will be the same, but the interest component will come down, so the principal component will go up by the same amount, and the home loan will pre-close by a few weeks or a few months earlier, depending on the amount of the amount of money you park. So that can be used for as a prepaying mechanism. Every time you have a little extra and you feel like it's a burden, the home loan is a burden, put it there. But remember that you're actually not prepaying, because the money will remain there in your overdraft account, and you will have to the prepaying is a technicality that you have to officially get done with the max gain account, guys. But your interest rate is coming down, and in the long term the tenure will come down, so you feel you get that psychological benefit. Or you can, what I would suggest is just get a plain home loan. There's no need for an overdraft. If you're worried about EMI and if you want to prepay your home loan, what you do is little extra. Let's say you can spare 5,000 extra after you have taken into account all your goals and so on. Every quarter, let's say you can spare 5,000 to 10,000 extra that can be used for pre-closure. Put that in a mutual fund like ICICI Balanced Advantage, sort of less volatile hybrid fund. It has got decent chance of getting an interest rate which is close to your home loan interest rate, and let that money grow. Just let that money grow. Don't pre-close it. That's just earmark it saying this is for home loan pre-closure. So every time, let it go. Every time you have money, put money in there. Let it grow. And suddenly, if you lose a job and there's a fear of losing job, and you think that the home loan will be a burden, then remove the money and pre-close it officially. There's no problem. But as long as let the home loan continue. What's the big deal? Your income is going to rise, and the impact of the EMI will come down because of inflation, and because of what is known as negative compounding of inflation. So that's one way to do it. There are many ways to do it. So the point is that you should, before you take the home loan, you should first consider when you should buy the house. I have a video for that. Then you should consider what kind of temperament do you have. After you start servicing the home loan, will you start worrying about prepayment, or will you let the home loan run? So think about all these factors and decide. I'll catch you in another video. Bye bye.